so the outer so. Let's go now. Let's go. Let's go. Slow, slow. Hey. Let's go, let's go. Let's go.
Ring belly yo, my lady have finger. Ring belly yo, my lady have finger.
Toe to toe, and my lady have finger.
This activity is going to emphasize that the Biosphere Reserve is a concept of not only environmental sustainability importance, it's a concept that is significant to the preservation of our culture, history, heritage, and socioeconomic way of life.
And so I'm going to start you off by telling you an African Anansi story, and then I'm going to tell you a Caribbean Anansi story. Once upon a time, there was an antelope roaming on the savannah in Africa. And he was busy picking cherries and having a fill of nice berries and cherries on the savannah. And then Anansi came along and he invited Anansi to have some cherries and berries and so on and have his fill. Anansi tell him that he can't stop because he's going to look firewood. And then the antelope heard what he thought was a roar, a lion. And the roar seemed as though the lion was in distress. And so the antelope ran in the direction from where the sound was coming from. And when he arrived, the lion was in anguish and saying, I'm here for days, I haven't eaten for days, I'm here and I've been caught in this trap that the hunters have set for me. Please try and get me out. And the antelope said, but if I get you out, to help you out, you're going to eat me. He said, no, I'm not going to eat you. I'm desperate, I want to get out. And the antelope said, are you sure? Are you going to promise me that you're not going to eat me? And the lion says, yes, you have my word. And the antelope went, broke a branch from a tree, eased it down into the hole. And the lion started climbing, put it in his teeth, and he was pulling with all his might. And the lion jumped out of the hole and put his paw on the antelope. And the antelope said, you didn't keep your promise. I thought you said that you won't eat me. He said, I've been here for 3 days. I'm a lion. And by nature, I kill and consume my prey. And he cried out. And then, just then, Anansi came along. And Anansi said, what is happening here? And the antelope said, I pulled him out and he didn't keep his promise. I pulled him out of the hole and he didn't keep, and Anansi laughed, you pulled out that lion, king of the jungle, out of that hole? I don't believe that. I would love to see that. And the lion said, yes, he pulled me out of the hole. He said, well, you have to prove it to me. If you prove it to me, then I know a buffalo where a buffalo has just been killed, and that is a whole lot of meat you have to consume. And the lion thought about it and he said, oh, you're just a little morsel to the antelope. And he said, okay, that's a bargain. And Anansi says, yes, I'll keep my word. And then the lion jumped back in the hole. And the antelope got his branch. Just then Anansi whispered something in his ear. And he put back in the branch in the hole. And he started pulling. And when the lion was about halfway up, he let go the branch. And the lion fell back into the hole. And they start walking off. And he started crying, oh, let me out of the hole. The hunters will kill me. And then Nancy said, you should not treat kindness with ingratitude. And the leg bend and the story end. This one is about Branansi and Batukuma. And Batukuma was a big fella. And Anansi was a small creature. And they used to court the same princess in the village. And every day, Batukuma would go and visit, and Anansi would go and visit the princess. And they would court her. And you know what courting is? Courting? It's something like dating. It's what you call date. And you court her. And then Anansi decided, well, I don't like this. I want that princess for myself. And he decided to come up with a plan. He didn't like Batukuma. He didn't want any competition. And so one day, he came up with this grand idea. And he told the princess, you see that Batukuma? He is no class for you. He is no good for you. He was my father's best riding horse. My father used to ride him all around the plantation. And she said, are you sure, Nancy? Say, yes, I can prove it to you. I can prove it to you. And Nancy went on his merry way, feeling happy that he had gotten Batukuma out of the way. When Batukuma went to visit, he said, I don't want to have anything to do with you. You were Nancy's best riding horse. She said, where did you get it? And Nancy told me you was his father's best riding horse. He said, I'm going to look for Nancy. And he ran off to look for Nancy. By the time he reached Nancy's house, he knocked on the door. And Nancy didn't answer. And he knocked on the door, went all around there, knocked on the door. Nancy said, Batukuma, I'm sick. I can't move. And Batukuma said, and he said, I want to get in. And so he said, pull the latch and come in. And Batukuma pulled the latch and went in and saw Nancy there all wrapped up in a sheet, sick. And he said, how could you tell the princess that I was your father's best riding horse? We never had no conversation like that to the princess. He said, well, you have to go back with me to tell her that you didn't have that conversation. And Nancy said, but I can't walk. He said, the only how I could go is if you put me on your back. And so Batukuma put him on his back and he started galloping and Nancy fell off. And Nancy said, I need something to hold me up. I need a saddle and some stirrups. And Batukuma went, got saddle, stirrups and everything, put them on and ran off again and he fell. He said, I need to get some reins. And he went and got the reins. And he jumped on again and he started going and Nancy stopped him. And Nancy stopped him. And he said, the fly done bothering me. I need a whip. And he picked a branch And Nancy started brushing fire. And he galloped, and the princess was on the veranda. And when Nancy saw the princess on the veranda, he whipped him and he said, gallop, 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 gallop. See, I tell you, he was my father's big riding horse. And but Tukaba was so ashamed, he fled and disappeared. And Nancy was able to get the princess hand in marriage. And they live happily ever after.